My name is John Savo. I'm serving as principal in charge of the architecture and design team for PenPlace. I served in the same role for the design of Amazon's HQ1 in Seattle, and it's my pleasure to take you through our design for site circulation at PenPlace. The focus of this video is to show you how the design team solved the many circulation challenges associated with this dense urban site in Pentagon City. I will address the many street right-of-way improvements as well as how circulation is intended to work at the edges and interior of the site. The video includes discussion of several transportation-related improvements incorporated in response to comments received during the LRPC process. There were 3 decisions key to the master plan that were intended to enhance public safety and the pedestrian experience. We, 1, aligned the site entry points with existing roads and drives. 2nd, combined and centralized loading for the entire block and located it underground. And 3rd, significantly reduced the number of curb cuts. To clarify why we made these decisions, a centralized loading dock located underground meant the elimination of 4 to 6 loading docks at grade, creating more opportunity for ground floor activation, as well as convenient at-grade facilities for bike commuters. Pedestrians need not walk alongside lengthy loading docks or have to wait for trucks backing in or out. Locating the loading dock entry off Army-Navy Drive will keep truck deliveries off neighborhood streets south of the arterial. Eliminating asphalt roadways created opportunity for more greenery and public open space, and greatly enhanced pedestrian safety and enjoyment. Reducing the number of curb cuts from 9 to 3 meant fewer road crossings with pedestrian walkways and protected bike lanes. We have proposed the creation of 4 new signalized intersections with new pedestrian crosswalks. These crosswalks will align with the broad pedestrian entrances into the site. In response to input received from staff and neighbors during the LRPC process, we have significantly enhanced the bike and micromobility infrastructure. Our earlier plans had included the protected cycle track on Army-Navy Drive and the protected bike lanes on South Eads in coordination with ongoing Arlington County projects. We recently moved our T2 building more than 13 feet eastward to create space for a protected northbound bike lane, as well as a southbound lane that is protected at the intersection at 11th. The southbound lane continues as a dedicated bike lane to 12th until future development completes the construction of the protected lane. We've added a new east-west multimodal path connecting the 2 new intersections on 11th Street South, which will be shared by pedestrians, cyclists, and micromobility devices. There is also an enhanced connectivity to Army-Navy Drive, with accessible pathways and stairs with bike rentals. Parking for bicycle and micromobility devices will be provided at convenient locations on both the perimeter and interior of the site. The new protected intersection at Elm and 12th Streets will be part of the improvements for the planned 12th Street Transitway. And we are relocating the bus stop on South Eads so that it's closer to the site entry on 11th. And we will be making substantial improvements to the bike infrastructure by implementing new protected bike lanes in the right-of-ways of Army-Navy and Eads. Over the last year, we've worked with county staff on appropriate solutions for the anticipated transportation demands of PenPlace. As a result, we have recently moved the project's Build 2 lines and shrunk the site to better suit the recommended street improvements, including additional bike lanes, turn lanes, protected intersections, sidewalk widths, and building shy zones. I will take you through each of the 4 streets, starting with 12th Street South. The county is developing a new transitway on 12th Street South. PenPlace will have a variable but generous sidewalk width with a minimum dimension of 12 feet. This has been increased from 10 feet in response to LRPC input regarding the growing importance of the 12th Street corridor to the neighborhood, and is envisioned in the Pentagon City PDSP. The sidewalk is bordered by a combination of retail and landscape features with no less than 4 different opportunities to enter the site open spaces. On-street parking is provided between protected intersections. Enhanced bus stops will be located on center islands located on either side of the new mid-block intersection. The new signalized intersection and crosswalks are aligned with the existing South Elm Street on the Met Park block. As we move clockwise around the site and look at the plan for South Fern Street, please note that north is now to the right and west is up. Look at the diagram in the upper right-hand corner and give yourself a moment to orient. We've added a protected bike lane northbound. There is also a protected bike lane south to 11th Street, with a dedicated bike lane continuing to 12th, at least until new development is completed on the west side of Fern. A left turn lane has been added for southbound traffic. Protected islands are provided at each intersection, including the new signalized intersection at 11th Street South and the entrance driveway into the PenPlace garage. The new intersection crosswalks and bike crossings provide access to the proposed east-west shared multimodal path. On-street parking is provided between intersections. Minimum sidewalk width is 10 feet, but with an additional 2-foot shy zone. On Army-Navy Drive, we're back with north being up on the plan. We are coordinating the planned two-way cycle track with county staff. A separate right turn lane provides access to the PenPlace garage and loading dock to avoid blocking traffic lanes. There is a 10-foot minimum sidewalk width that opens up at building entries. The new signalized intersection aligns with the existing driveway into the Pentagon parking lot, as well as roughly with Elm Street to the south. Since we last showed you our plans, a generous stair with bike rentals has been added to supplement the main accessible route that encircles the north end of the helix and leads to the elevated forest. As you can see in the plan, there are travel or turning lanes eastbound and 2 travel lanes westbound with an additional left turn lane to South Fern. We've rotated the plan again at South Eads so that north is again to the right and west is up. Like Army-Navy Drive, we are providing protected bike lanes, both north and south, as well as protected intersections. A new bike share station is planned in front of the helix. Sidewalk widths are variable, but a minimum of 12 feet between 12th and 11th. The new signalized intersection and crosswalks are aligned with 11th Street South, across the street, and provide a third entrance to underground parking as well as the proposed east-west multimodal path at PenPlace. There is 1 through lane in each direction, plus multiple turn lanes to reduce backups at intersections. On-street parking is provided. As designers, we often joke that form follows parking because it plays such a prominent role in both site and building design. So I will now take you through our design efforts to ensure that we have adequate parking on site, as well as ample opportunities for pickup and drop-off, or PUDO. In addition to almost 2,000 public parking spaces below grade, the current plan anticipates 51 on-street parking stalls, some of which could be designed for purposes of pickup and drop-off, particularly on 12th Street South and the northern end of South Fern Street, where there will be a child care facility and the new school. These are supplemented by 22 stalls below grade that are designated for short-term parking, for a total of 73 stalls that are either on-street or below grade short-term. Based on Amazon's experience at HQ1, we anticipate the office use generating a demand of approximately 3 pickup and drop-off stalls for each office building, for a total of 12 somewhere around the site, compared to the 51 spaces located currently at grade. 3 shuttle spaces are also needed. However, the ultimate number and location of on-street pickup and drop-off stalls will be determined by the county. Parking access is from 3 sides: South Eads, South Fern, and Army-Navy Drive. The Army-Navy entrance will be shared with trucks accessing the loading dock. Our current count for all underground parking stalls is just under 2,000, including stalls for all uses: retail, Arlington Community High School, and the amenity building, as well as the office use. As you can see in the areas colored purple, we've identified 22 stalls below grade that are easily accessible from both Eads and Fern that are available for the short-term parking. All below-grade short-term parking stalls will be located in front of the gate arms and ticket spitters. I will touch briefly on what is happening underground other than parking, specifically an overview of the centralized loading facility and a high-level look at the central plant. As noted earlier, there is a common loading dock for all the uses on the site that is located near the center of the block and is accessed from Army-Navy Drive. Service vehicle access will be carefully managed. The vast majority of trucks will be SU40 or smaller, but the dock is designed to accommodate larger trucks as necessary up to an SU67. Although not required, several van stalls are also provided. Ample trash and recycling berths are included. There is a central utility plant, or CUP, beneath Tower 1 that serves all the buildings at PenPlace. As reported earlier, Amazon is going all electric in Arlington, and the site will utilize 100% renewable energy, with approximately 1 million kilowatt hours generated on site and the remainder generated at an off-site solar farm in Virginia. We have chilled water thermal storage. There are 6 tanks located within the concrete cores of the office towers, which together total 1.2 million gallons of chilled water. This strategy allows the cooling systems to operate in synchronicity with the local electrical grid, reducing peak power demand. There is a hydronic energy recovery system, so that heat generated on the site isn't lost but reused, particularly for use in the helix. We plan to collect and recycle rainwater in cisterns for a variety of on-site uses, such as irrigation and low-flow urinals. The central plant also serves the public open spaces, including the systems supporting the multiple water features, community events, site lighting, etc. And the rainwater collected in the stormwater recovery system, as we noted earlier, is recycled for irrigation of the site landscaping, among other uses. I'd like to introduce Greta Rudicelli from our colleague firm Scape, Landscape Architects. Greta will expand on the landscape design, open space programming, and interior site circulation. She will also discuss the changes to the plan that have occurred since the last LRPC.
Thanks, John. I'm Greta Rudicelli, a senior designer with Scape Landscape Architecture. Dale introduced you to the major changes in Chapter 1, and we're going to expand on how circulation has been optimized to accommodate a diverse range of users within the site design. We greatly appreciate all of the feedback we've received in the entitlement process to date, and we're thankful that we've been able to work with the community to align on a shared vision for PenPlace. While this process has required a push and pull for many design decisions, we're excited to share these changes with you and feel confident that we can deliver a great public space with excellent multimodal circulation, easy access, flexible programmatic spaces, and a beautiful, serene, and immersive forest experience. We've prioritized these design elements in the past few months because of the feedback we've heard throughout the entitlement process. Just to highlight those key points again, we've heard a desire for more direct paths and pedestrian and micromobility connections east-west and north-south across the site. Excitement around the immersive forest experience and a desire for more native planting and planted areas throughout the site. And excitement for flexible programming and community events and activities at the central green. Our site design was inspired by many regional landscapes and ecological precedents, including the native plants and ecosystems of the Blue Ridge and Appalachian Mountains to the west, the dramatic water experiences at Great Falls to the north, and the meadows and deltaic wetlands of the Piedmont and Coastal Plains regions to the south and east. The proposed site design is organized around a conceptual stream that calls to mind these regional landscapes. The stream serves as an ecological spine that threads the site north to south and is characterized by several key water moments. In the north of the site, the headwaters water feature is nested within a lifted forest of native tree species that buffer the highway to the north while creating areas of calm and respite. In the center of the site, the confluence water feature and a forest edge with stormwater gardens frame an actively programmed large central green. And in the south of the site, a series of stormwater meadow gardens and a pond edge the plaza and active retail corridor along 12th Street. Many of you are familiar with the original PDSP that was approved in 2014 for PenPlace, and we would like to take a moment briefly to reiterate that the 2014 PDSP was the basis for the current design proposal at PenPlace. Building on the initially proposed program elements, cross-site porosity and circulation routes, and open space calculations, which the original PDSP had 2 acres of public open space, we have been able to provide for all of the previous programming elements and expand on them. We've also prioritized cross-site porosity and connections north-south and east-west, and accommodated more than 2.5 acres of public open space. With the proposed design modifications based on feedback from the LRPC process, We are excited that the site design concept now reads more strongly and is more actively engaged by improved circulation networks. Here is a side-by-side comparison of the previous and proposed site plan. Improvements in response to LRPC feedback include the introduction of a 15-foot wide east-west multimodal path, which also allowed us to expand the forest planting area wrapping the central green, the introduction of additional direct paths east-west for cross-site pedestrian circulation, and the introduction of a more direct stair and mid-block access on Army-Navy Drive and at the north-south connector. Along the north-south path, we've also improved multimodal circulation with the introduction of bike rentals on the direct stair connections. I'm now going to walk you through some of these expanded program elements as a reminder of all the exciting opportunities that are still accommodated within the site plan. Starting at the southern edge of the site on 12th Street, at numbers 1, 2, and 5, are the 12th Street Plaza, which is a welcoming entry plaza from the 12th Street retail corridor, and this plaza features a stormwater meadow garden and pond water feature. Located at the numbers 3 across the site are the retail mews, which are always located between towers and retail pavilions. These are intended as vibrant pedestrian corridors with public circulation as well as retail spill out. In the center of the site at number 4 is the central green, which is framed by a planted forested edge at number 6, the confluence water feature to the west at number 5, the dog run to the east at number 8, and an amphitheater to the north at number 12. Wrapping the southern edge of the central green and moving across the site at number 7 is a multimodal path, which we'll describe with more detail in the overall circulation portion of this presentation. Meandering along the amphitheater, one traverses a grade change via a forest path at number 13 to arrive in the lifted forest. Here at number 5, there is another water feature, the headwaters, and also a series of forest rooms at number 14. To travel to Army-Navy Drive from this location, one can either take the stair mid-block at number 15 or another immersive forest path that snakes back down along the helix at number 13. Along the perimeter of the site on the east side at number 11 is the East Street Plaza, which is a gesture welcoming you from the new park at South Eads into the site along the east-west path. And on the west side of the site mid-block at Fern Street is Fern Street Plaza at number 9. Also mid-block at Fern Street is the childcare at number 10. Next, we're going to go through a few of the design changes in a little more detail. One of the pieces of feedback we've heard in the 4.1 process to date is a desire for more planting areas and native species. With these design changes, we've expanded the forest planting palette from the north of the site to wrap around the central green. This has also allowed us to dually create a planted experience along the multimodal path and expand a stormwater garden in this portion of the site, while still retaining a sizable lawn for desired events. In the forest at the north of the site, we've reconfigured a few forest rooms adjacent the mid-block stair to prioritize this area as a lush, immersive botanical experience. We also heard excitement for flexible programming at the central green throughout the 4.1 process, from regular farmers markets and seasonal events to concerts and movie nights, and the need for the central green to be a place for casual recreation and leisurely relaxation. Pairing this programming feedback with a strong desire for increased planting area, shade, and improved direct and multimodal circulation, we increased the size of the planted area wrapping the central green to create a safe and scenic buffer between the multimodal path and the varied central green programming. Through test fit studies, we've studied the scale of the proposed central green to ensure that it can still accommodate all desired uses. As rendered here, you can see the central green can easily hold a large crowd for special events. We're showing more than 1,000 people in this view alone. South and east of the larger central green, you'll notice a smaller lawn nested adjacent the forest edge. This area of the green will be slightly sloped and is intended for lounging and a quiet experience adjacent the larger open space. It might also be used for intermittent artist installations or smaller performances. A few additional studies illustrate alternate programming opportunities and retained flexibility of the central green. The intent of these studies is to show programming capacity and how this space may be used. The first two examples from the top left illustrate two potential layouts for markets on the central green. On the top left, you'll see 27 10 by 10 tents wrapping the perimeter of the central green for weekly markets, and in the top middle, close to 40 10-by-10 tents, or market stalls organized in rows for special events. Some examples of events like these might include weekly farmers markets or annual holiday markets or festivals. On the bottom row, you'll see some test bits for larger events, including concerts or movie nights, where a stage or screen could be set up on the lawn, and attendees might occupy both the green and the amphitheater. We are also showing how the central green might be used for recreation or group exercise, like a community yoga class of 50 or more people. And on the top right, we're showing how the central green will always be open to the public daily for lounging, gathering, and relaxation. We've taken into consideration the desire from the community for more direct and legible east-west and north-south paths, and now we're going to dive a little deeper into these circulation routes. The proposed primary east-west path will be a 15-foot wide multimodal path designed to connect with the greater regional planning efforts for the Green Ribbons and to the new park at Southeast. For individuals walking east-west, there are also additional paths cutting directly and dynamically through planted areas and the central green in the heart of the site. For individuals traveling north-south, the meandering forest path in dark teal is intended as the primary path to the forest and through the forest to Army-Navy Drive. This path is curvy to ensure an accessible slope as the path navigates a 20-foot grade change from the central green to the forest and then back down to Army-Navy Drive. With this meandering path, there is an opportunity to create an immersive and dynamic botanical experience as one moves from the activity at the central green and amphitheater to a space for contemplation and respite within the forest rooms and at the headwaters water feature. Additionally, the meander of the path is designed to artfully link with the midpoint and top of the amphitheater to create accessible entry points for the amphitheater seating. For the north-south route, we've also heard the community's request for more direct paths and an easier multimodal connection to the cycle track on Army-Navy Drive. Stair locations have been carefully considered in respect with adjacent circulation routes. You'll notice in the proposed design, we've moved the stair from the right side of the amphitheater to the left side of the amphitheater, and we've also added a mid-block stair connection on Army-Navy Drive to the forest. Each of these stairs will feature a bike rental to allow for an alternate route through the forest grade change for individuals visiting or passing through the site with a multimodal device. This diagram illustrates how users will be able to traverse PenPlace on bikes and other micromobility devices. The primary route for riding micromobility devices through the site will be the 15-foot east-west multimodal path. Flanking this path, you'll notice over half of our required micromobility parking spaces are now intentionally located along easy access points from the east-west path to the central site amenities. As previously mentioned, to create easy access through the forest grade change, we're also providing bike rentals along the stairs at the amphitheater and Army-Navy Drive. You can see the remaining micromobility parking spaces along the perimeter of the site adjacent to protected bike lanes at PenPlace and conveniently located at intersections and near key building entrances. On the left side of this page, there are some precedent images. We've been working with county staff to determine the appropriate character of the multimodal path and have looked to examples like the Indianapolis Cultural Trail, where cyclists and other micromobility users share the space with pedestrians on foot. In this example, simple signage and paving tones indicate flow with frequent seating areas adjacent to path. We've also included a few examples of bike rentals, and we're in the process of designing and studying this amenity with consideration for the appropriate slope, width, and material that will make the rentals convenient and easy to use. Lastly, we have a little more detail on the primary paths east-west and north-south. These sections provide a sense of scale for typical conditions along these circulation routes. The east-west multimodal path will be a shared-use 15-foot clear path with a planted buffer where possible to create a safe edge with adjacent site uses, which might include other circulation routes, retail spillout, and site programming. The second two sections are cut through the north-south forest path and the stair adjacent the amphitheater. These routes individually have a minimum 8-foot clearance and a combined total of 16 feet, which makes the combined circulation paths moving north-south through the forest comparable with the scale of the east-west primary path across the site. In addition to this 16 feet, there will be the width required for bike rentals on stairs through the forest. This concludes the site circulation and site design portion of SPRC 1. Thank you for your time. We look forward to sharing further details for the landscape and site design in the upcoming SPRC meetings and ongoing park master planning.